The first Christian church in Black Africa was established in the ancient kingdom of Ethiopia. This took place in the beginning of the 4th century. It was following that crucial development, in short, that together with many other cultural elements with which I will not tire you today, our ancestors adapted the early Christian calendar system from the Coptic Church, which we have kept alive for over 1,675 years. Even before the introduction of Christianity into Ethiopia, however, a few stone inscriptions indicate that some calendar system was already in use by the ancient Ethiopians. Given the early connections with Egypt, it will not be surprising if that calendar system was related to the famous one which the ancient Egyptians had developed as far back as 3,000 years BC. But there is no doubt that the calendar we now have was ultimately derived from that system, since we have adapted it from the Copts, the direct descendants of the ancient Egyptians, and who still retain many basic features from ancient times. The most important feature, which we also share, is New Year Day, Enqutatash, on Maskaram 1, equivalent to the month of Tot 1 in the Coptic calendar. This day became the holiest festival of the year for the ancient Egyptians, because it was the day when the Nile River flooding, which was the source of their prosperity and civilization, reached its highest level. This was such an important event in their life that they also adopted this day as their New Year Day. The system we received was a version of the solar calendar, which was finally refined and instituted in 1000 BC. According to this system, the year consisted of 365 days divided into 12 months and 30 days each, and an additional 5 days which they dedicated for a series of ritual festivities at the end of every year. From this, their descendants, the Copts, later developed their year of 13 months, 12 of them having 30 days each, and the last one, which they call the little month, consisting of only 5 days, or 6 days in a leap year. This was not very different from the one the Roman Emperor Augustus later imposed upon his subjects. This is known as the Julian calendar, because it was first inaugurated by the famous Julius Caesar back in 46 BC. It was this final version of the Coptic system, fully calibrated with the system of the Julian calendar, that eventually came to us. But it is apparent that the idea of a year of 12 months was not new for the Ethiopians at the time. They already had their own 12 months, each with its own name, completely unrelated to the words the Copts, the Greeks, or the Romans used for their months. However, we still do not have any evidence of how our forefathers came about with the names of our 12 months, Maskaram, Tiqim, Tidar, and so on. But they are a clear evidence for a well-established Ethiopian calendar of 12 months, even in more ancient times. It may be that it was only the idea of organizing the 5 to 6 superfluous days at the end of the year into a separate calendar unit that was new to the Ethiopians. Because this idea was new to them, they did not have a name of their own for it, but they rejected the idea of calling it the little months as the Copts did, because it was inexact to give such a few days the exalted name of a month. And instead, the independent-minded Ethiopians looked for a more rational name and adopted the Greek term Pagumin, which precisely means the forgotten days.